Running along the northeastern rim of the Wichita Mountains, Medicine Creek has played a major role in the history of our state. The spring-fed creek flows roughly 30 miles from west to east within the boundaries of Comanche County. In this video, we will take a virtual tour of sorts, with footage I have taken by land and air. We will look at the start of it near Harrington and Oregon Spring, talk about the sleeping lady and her vision, the re-emergence of Medicine Park, Ambrosia Spring, and the storied, sacred Medicine Bluffs made famous by Apache leader Geronimo. Well, let's dive in. There are a lot of springs in this region, mostly officially unnamed, and most have run dry. This is essentially where Medicine Creek gets its start. Even after a dry spell, you can still see water streaming over the gravel roads in this area. This is one of the many springs that feed into Medicine Creek. For the most part, the creek is essentially hit or miss along here. Perhaps most of it flows just under the surface from the Post Oak Aquifer. The creek does, however, pick up steam as it goes east, thanks to flow from a few springs and runoff from the Wichita Mountains. Jimmy Creek is another gorgeous spring-fed creek that is also historic. We will be doing a video on that one in the coming weeks as well. Medicine Creek is part of the East Cache Creek Basin, which eventually flows into the Red River. From here, the creek flows east back toward the north rim of the Wichita Mountains and the Sleeping Lady. This area is one of the most historic in the Wichita Mountains. The Kiowa tribe refers to this region as the Valley of 1,000 Teepees. This is the land that protected the nomadic Kiowas in harsh winters. Mount Sheridan, Poco Mountain, and Tarbone Mountain come together to form a landmark known by native elders as the Sleeping Lady of the Wichitas. Here, my friend Kim describes to us the Sleeping Lady.
She's laying like this, her feet, her knee, her belly, her breast, her face, and her flowing hair.
He met with a group of Kiowa elders in the early 2000s, and they described the Sleeping Lady to him. She's pregnant and she's given birth to a vision. She protects the valley. This area is sacred. It is storied. Tarbone Mountain has come up often in history as well, but for other reasons. The brass bucket that Joe Hunter ended up with was found here along the creek at the base of the mountain. He continued to be driven to search for the James brothers' treasure here over the years, but he always felt that he just didn't find everything he was searching for. Mount Sheridan is another landmark that continues to come up in southwest Oklahoma history, with Joe Hunter finding artifacts and caves high up on the granite facades of the towering peak and mythical caves that still tease us to this day. These Cascades are on private property, however, you can kayak to the bottom of them as I'm doing here. Now, just be warned, leaving the creek and stepping on any portion of the rocks is trespassing, and I definitely don't condone it. This landowner is usually out there fly fishing every time I've kayaked around here. What an amazing view he has. Anyway, I figured this was too beautiful not to share. To check these Cascades out for yourself, just put your kayak in the water at Robinson's Landing and head a mile west. You won't encounter much of a current until you get right to the base of the Cascades. This is somewhat of a dividing line between the crystal clear water that is above and west of the Cascades. From this point east, the water is cloudy and murky for the most part. Lawtonka is a native word that means pure and clear water. At over 2,325 acres, Lake Lawtonka isn't a huge lake, but I have personally had a lot of fun here over the years. The primary job of the lake is to provide drinking water for the city of Lawton and Fort Sill. Mount Scott, looming over the western shore of the lake, frames it nicely. With 20 miles of shoreline, there are some portions that are sandy. It has a maximum depth of 58 feet when it is completely full. It is fed by the Medicine Creek and smaller tributaries on the northern side of the Wichitas and southern side of the Slick Hills. It was formed in 1905 when the Medicine Creek was dammed up just to the north of Medicine Park. Here's a shot in the exact spot where the dam would be built just a couple of years later. The first dam was only 17 feet high as pictured here. In 1939, the dam was enlarged. In 1953, they added the 10-foot gates, which bring it to its current height that we see today. Below the dam, Medicine Creek continues its flow into the cobblestone community of Medicine Park. When I was a child in 1980s Lawton, you just didn't venture into Medicine Park. Now, nearly 40 years later, it is a can't-miss destination. This is Oklahoma's only historic cobblestone town and is the true gateway to the Wichita Mountains. The city was built on land purchased by John Elmer Thomas, who envisioned a resort community built upon the pure medicinal creek qualities. In 1908, Thomas called it the Medicine Park Summer Resort and Health Spa. In the 1920s, Medicine Park began to come to life. Dams were built which created what we know today as Bath Lake and Lake Gondola. A hotel and rental cabins were constructed, and a few permanent houses sprouted up. At that time, over 200,000 annual visitors stopped in. In 1922, Charles Baird opened the Baird Sanatorium and Health Clinic. The infamous Easter pageant was held right here before being moved to its current location in the Holy City in 1935. Elmer Thomas was elected to the Senate in 1926, and he sold the park to a corporation, and that was the beginning of the decline that lasted through the 80s. Medicine Park was incorporated in 1969 with a population of 483 and sunk to a population of 285 in 1990. In the 1990s, the tide began to turn. Today, the population is estimated to be just under 500. More importantly, the town has exploded into an amazing place. The original vision of Elmer Thomas is now being fulfilled. With various annual festivals such as Park Stomp and the Roots Ball, an awesome aquarium, lodging, and lots of choices for dining, Medicine Park is a must-see for anyone that finds themselves in Southwest Oklahoma. To find out even more details about the resurrection of Medicine Park, go check out this Facebook group. Now, I could make several videos about the history, events, and landmarks in this town, but I just wanted to scratch the surface here. What has taken place in this town the past few years is nothing short of a miracle. Medicine Park is cementing its place among top tourist, mountain biking, and spiritual destinations in the country. Go be part of it. This portion of Medicine Creek was known historically as Medicine Bluff Creek. These bluffs were first noted on the 1865 Texas state map as Trap Bluffs. At 300 plus feet high, these four contiguous bluffs can be seen from quite a distance north of Fort Sill. This place is loaded with lots of history and legends. Sadly, it was known for native suicides and the infamous story that Apache leader Geronimo leaped off the cliff and into the Medicine Creek below with his horse. In May of 1868, it was decided that a military post would be set up here due to the unrest among the Indians in this region. After the Wichita River Massacre, Indians were moved from Fort Cobb to here. What we know now as Fort Sill was initially called Camp Medicine Bluff, Camp Wichita, and most famously the Soldier House at Medicine Bluffs, until it was named after General Joshua Sill in 1869. So at 310 feet above Medicine Creek, bluff number 3 is the tallest out of all of them. The sick were brought here to be healed or disposed of by the Great Spirit. It is a special divine place which allowed tribes such as the Comanches to become closer to the sun. It is a significant connection to the sacred landscape of Comancheria. Before the arrival of Europeans, a prominent cairn on the summit of bluff number 3 was purposely in place. The Army used to execute rappelling and other training here, but all that ceased years ago on the basis that this place is known and regarded as a sacred place of healing for the southern Great Plains tribes. Ambrosia Spring was named for Ambrosia Taylor, who was the wife of a post surgeon, Major Morse K. Taylor. Major Taylor tapped the springs in 1883 as a water supply for Fort Sill. Before Major Taylor brought piped water to portions of Fort Sill, water carts would fill up at the spring on the north side of Medicine Bluff Creek. When the water was high and diluted, the troops still drank the spring water while the officers used Mr. Quinnett's well. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. In the coming months, I will dive deeper into some of the details that I introduced here. I hope you have a great day. Please ensure you share, subscribe, and turn on notifications for this video and for future videos so you don't miss any Southwest Oklahoma history.